On this episode of the Naturist Living Show, the Las Vegas Bears.
This episode of the Naturist Living Show is brought to you by Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park. At Bear Oaks, we offer traditional naturist values in a modern setting. Free your body, free your mind. www.bearoaks.ca.
Welcome, dear listener, to episode 117 of the Naturist Living Show. My name is Stéphane Deschênes. I'm your host of this podcast and the owner of Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park. And today we have our Western correspondent, Tim Chizmar. He's back again with an interview with Julie D. Mayo, who is one of the co-founders of the Las Vegas Bears. Now, if you've been listening and you listened to earlier episodes where we talked with Tim, there's not a lot of options around Las Vegas. Despite Las Vegas being all about nudity, tends to be more about sexual nudity and titillating nudity. The natural or wholesome or human nudity or just lack of clothing is something which is not easily found. But there are the Las Vegas Bears, that's just like Bear Oaks, it's B-A-R-E, Bears, who organized events. They're a non-landed club, and they organize trips to hot springs, and they organize events in private spaces, private homes, and travel around and rent spaces to do events. And there's people like that, organizations like that in a lot of cities. And in Las Vegas, that seems like it's a really important thing because it's one of the few options that people have when traveling there. And we'll have links in the show notes to their website. And before we get started, I should point out that this was recorded nearly a year ago by Tim. It's part of a series of interviews that he did, which we both thought were lost. He thought he deleted them because he sent them to me, and he had sent them to me, but I had changed phones and thought I lost them, but then found them by accident because of, it was very strange, but I was searching for something else and ran across this very odd named file, which turned out to be these interviews. So it has been a year, but I checked with Tim and not much has changed. The Las Vegas Bears are still around and still organizing activities.
And coming to you wonderfully from beautiful, sunny Las Vegas, Nevada, I am Tim Chizmar. It's me, it's him, it's T-I-M. On today's show, we've got a recent friend of mine, somebody I've only known a few weeks, but I feel like I've known her forever. And we have embarked on bringing nude recreation and nude activities back to Las Vegas in a big, giant, huge, fun way. So I want to introduce everybody out there to my friend, Julie Mayo. Hello, Julie.
Hello, everybody out there listening.
Thanks for coming on the show with us.
Sure, no problem. Happy to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Sweet. I thought we would open up by getting to know you a little bit. You're a nudist now. Is that fair to say?
Correct, yes.
So did you grow up in a nudist household, a nudist family? What was that?
Not at all.
Okay.
In my family, my mother was like really uptight. Literally none of the family, even us as kids, could not even see my mother before she had her makeup on. So she would get up before everybody in the house and dodge in the bathroom and put on her makeup before she would come out and let us see her. And even growing up as a girl, I thought it would be not... Then I didn't think of it, but now looking at it, I thought it'd be no big deal for at least your daughter or your kids to see you naked. But when I grew up, that wasn't even an option. If mom was in the bathroom and you had to go, you waited till the bathroom was free. Everything was very, very private. So that's how I grew up. So wow. I never even, if somebody would have ever told me that someday I'd be taking my clothes off in front of strangers, I would have told them they were absolutely crazy.
Do you remember the first time you heard about nude recreation?
Yeah, actually, I do. I was living in Michigan at the time. I've lived in many, many states, but I was living in Michigan and I was married. And many, many years ago, my husband actually was delivering propane, and he went to what they called a nudist colony back then. Anyway, he came home from work and he's like, oh my God, I delivered propane at a nudist colony today. It was so awesome. We've got to go. And I looked at him and I said, take my clothes off in front of strangers? Are you nuts? And that is as far as the conversation went. Needless to say, I did not try it at that point. Didn't even imagine I would ever try it at that point.
Do you have any idea what you were thinking? Did you just assume it was all sexual or what?
No, the sex thing didn't come up for me. For me, what it was about was, oh my God, all the societal programming of what a female's body should look like. And just always growing up around clothes, you go out in public, you have clothes on. It just was so far out of my universe. But the big thing was not being comfortable with my body, not looking like a model, not thinking my body was like a model, always kind of with that societal pressure of what the female body should look like. Again, I didn't even really give it a thought beyond that. Okay. I just felt like, anyway, the body, so much I was trained when growing up, the body was to be hidden by clothes. I mean, that's how I grew up. You always had clothes on. But I remember as a kid too, like even when I was younger and I would, be in a bikini, I wore a bikini when I was younger, like really young, 9, 10, whatever, and growing up. And even going to like the lake or a swimming, public pool, whatever, I always hated sitting around in a wet bathing suit. Like once you got in the pool and got out, to me that was so uncomfortable, was sitting around in the wet suit. Ugh. And then as I got older in life, I mean, I wore a bra because I had to, again, more a society, like I thought that's just what females were supposed to do. Yeah. But I even ended up ditching my bra many, many years ago. And I just, again, that bikini, that bathing suit was constricting. It was like wearing a bra and then the bottoms. And it just was restricting. It wasn't comfortable.
So from that moment where you were like, absolutely not, what changed? What?
Kind of funny story. So it was really interesting. Fast forward many, many years later. I was married for 16 years. But now I'm living in Las Vegas, recently divorced, and I'm at work. I worked in the medical field for more than 20 years. So I'm at work, and a girlfriend of mine, Kathy, she's, on the phone with her husband in the break room, and she covers up the phone and she yells over to me, "Hey, Julie, you want to go to the beach in San Diego this weekend?" I'm like, I'm always up for a road trip, sure. So she finishes the phone conversation with her husband, and then she, comes over to me. She goes, "Well, my husband and I, we've got to rent a car because our car will never make it. But my husband works with this guy, and they want to go to the beach in California." And I said, "I've got a van. I'm always up for a road trip. Like, let's just pile in my van and go." And I love to drive too. So I'm one of those weird people that actually enjoy driving. So anyway, the next morning I pick up her husband, David, their 2-year-old son. And we go by and pick up this friend. His name was Jim. We pick up Jim. And we're, I'm driving to San Diego with all of us in the van. And all the way down there, it's roughly a 4-hour drive from Las Vegas. And all the way down there, this friend is talking about the nude beach. And Kathy's sitting up front with me, and the rest of them are in the back. And I'm just kind of looking at Kathy, and Kathy's looking at me, and we're shaking our heads. I don't know about that. Anyway, and just all the way down there, he just kept mentioning. He's like, "No problem, you guys can drop me off." So next thing I know, about 4 hours later, where, he's telling me where to go, turn here. We end up in this huge parking lot. So we park the car, and we just start getting our gear out of the van and everything. We've got the 2-year-old, the chairs, the cooler, and we're walking across the parking lot, and then there's this hill that we have to kind of like hike down. So we're, trugging down the hill with, the 2-year-old and all our gear and everything. And we get to the bottom of the hill, and we look over, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's naked people here. And the friend, Jim, he's like, yeah, this is the nude beach, but if you guys want to go to the textile beach, just hike back up the hill and go to the beach next door. And we're like, after all this work and stuff, like, that's too much work.
That's very polite of you to call it a hill. I've been on that. It is like a mountain.
Yeah. It's changed throughout the years. Now that I've used it, it's changed throughout the years. But back then, it was a little tricky in spots.
Yeah.
And then with a couple high tides and storms, it got really rough at one point. Now, thank goodness, they've rebuilt and improved some of the steps and stuff. But anyway, so funny. So we get down there, and the guys, like, shorts off, boom, they're out on the beach right away. So Kathy and I are spreading out the blanket for the 2-year-old, getting situated. We're sitting there, in our bikinis, and we're not taking our clothes off at this point. But what was kind of interesting is as a couple, and we're kind of like on the edge of where the people start. We didn't venture through the naked people. We're just sitting kind of at the beginning of them, at the beach. So, but sitting there, a couple people walk by, again, all size, shapes, colors, whatever. And we look at each other and we're like, well, maybe we'll just try taking our tops off, So we took off the tops, okay with that. It didn't take long. A couple more people walked by. We looked at each other. We're like, screw it. And off the bottoms came. And we actually both have been hooked ever since. That was more than 20 years ago. And Kathy, to this day, is a nudist as well.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You, interestingly enough, lived at a nudist resort for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I did. In fact, right before relocating to Las Vegas in May, just recently, May of this year, I lived at Glen Sun Club in Southern California for 12 years.
That's an expensive resort as far as, like, they've got a big budget. They're well known for...
Yeah, it's actually... So it's what's called a landed club, and it's actually member-owned. It started in the, 1960, so it's been around a long time. It's owned by its members. So you actually have to be a member to go, but you can visit, 3 times. Mm-hmm. Visit 3 times to see if you want to own or join. And then they also have where non-landed clubs that don't have a facility or travelers, whatever, you can kind of come in, they'll do group rates if somebody brings a group in from a non-landed club.
So were you looking to live at a resort, or did you just... How did that happen? How did you end up with that?
Yeah, so kind of way back when I was in Las Vegas, it was actually... the guy, Jim, his name's Jim Troutner. So the one that introduced me to the whole lifestyle, this Jim that was in the van talking about the nude beach this whole time, he was a member of the Las Vegas Bears. And again, this was more than 20 years ago. So I got involved with the Bears doing pool parties in Las Vegas. Okay. And then I left Vegas in 99 I left for my career. So I ended up in Colorado, Arizona, and then back in Southern California, which is part of where I grew up. I've lived in many states. But being back in California, when I moved there in 2003, I bought a house in Murrieta, which happened to be 20 minutes from Glen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I became a member of Glen and was going there as my nude fix. Mm-hmm. So I was going there for nude recreation. Made a lot of friends. It actually became more of an extended family. Just got really close to some great friends.
I gotta ask you, because there are so many resorts in Southern California, what made you gravitate to Glen over, say, Deer Park or Olive Dell or any of the others?
So actually, to start, it was its location. The fact that it was 20 minutes up the I-15, and I could be there. Again, it was 20 miles, 20 minutes. Sometimes I got there quicker. I'm a fast driver. But anyway, so it was just the closest club. And I love the facilities. Mm-hmm. They have 6 tennis ball courts, basketball courts, a volleyball court. They have, outdoor pool, the indoor pool where we play water volleyball. That's one of my favorites.
My friends always laughed at the cactus maze, which sounds like a horrible idea at a nudist resort.
Oh, there's a cactus garden. Yeah, there is a cactus garden where you can walk through, and it's It's well pathed where you're not like there's plenty of room to walk between the cactus. Yeah, it's actually really cool. I enjoy that as well. And there's a hiking trail out back that goes into the Cleveland National Forest. So you can hike it and stay on the property of GE, or you can hike it, go out the gate and into the forest, and then back into the other gate and back into GE again.
There used to be a chapel. I don't know if it's still there.
Still a chapel. They have weddings there, nude weddings at the chapel. Yep,
That's
and
fun.
some of them do service there. Yeah.
That's great. I'm really familiar with the place, but I wanted to ask, because some people have never lived at a resort, what is it like living there versus just visiting? Because I imagine there's pros and cons.
Well, one of the big pro, which I absolutely love, is the fact that you can do everything naked. So they have, your laundry facilities, your living facilities, of course. They have a hot sauna. They do. Back in the beginning when I lived there, sometimes the schedule changes, but basically nude karaoke 3 nights a week, a live band or DJ dance every Saturday night, and of course it's all nude because it's in the gate. And what else? They do the reality TV fans would do a Survivor.
Yes,
potluck.
I attended that a few times.
Yeah, I'm not a reality fan. I don't do reality TV, but they'd get together for potluck and reality TV. New Year's and Halloween dances are the biggest nights of the year.
Sure,
they're huge. Just you can tent camp there. If you have a trailer or you're a traveler, you can bring your trailer or your
there's a restaurant.
RV.
I mean, yeah.
There's a cafe on
It's
site.
like a little turtle pond. Somebody had turtles.
Yep. There's turtles right outside the cafe. There's they do.
And even the turtles are naked.
Yep, nude yoga, Pilates in the pool.
Yeah.
I mean, just all kinds of stuff. So the big pro is being able to do everything naked.
Yeah.
And about the only con I could think of is, I have to go outside the gate. I actually have to put clothes on.
Now, I understand that there was a lot of great reasons to live there and to love it, but eventually you left. Why did you leave?
Actually, the mudslides. So anyway, there was a big fire. The Holy Fire now holds California's record for the biggest wildfire in California. So that affected the hills surrounding Glen Sun Club in Corona. So it affected a very large area. In fact, it started way over to the west, but like over 20-some thousand acres. Anyway, so after the fire came the heavy rains, which now had mudslides because of the missing vegetation on the hills. So after the first mudslide, just kind of my backyard was 8 inches higher as the creek behind my property overflowed, and so I ended up with mud in my shed. I had to muck out, no big deal. And then later there was a bigger storm while I was in Santa Barbara, actually visiting my aunt, and when that storm came, a neighbor sent me pictures that the shed was damaged and had rocks inside. So when I came home, I actually found 3 feet of rocks and mud in the shed, and which is where the merchandise for my business was. So kind of a big hit there. And long story short, I ended up with a lot of damage on my unit. Most of my insurance policy was paying to have the mud removed, so there wasn't really funds left to fix my place. So long story short, I had it for sale for a long time. I actually wanted to move to Vegas again to be closer to my son, reconnect with old friends, and the outdoor recreation in Vegas is awesome. So I've missed being here and was kind of over the California people and traffic and all that. The 15, which is the I-15 interstate, has gotten really, really crazy with all the housing and apartments and everything they're building. So I wanted to be back here, had the place for sale, wasn't selling. So with it being wiped out with the mudslide, I had to go in front of the board, and the board of the Glen approved for the board to buy my site back
unanimously.
Yeah, unanimously. So
and it was because you were never a cliquish person. You were able to mix with everybody.
Anyway,
everybody loved the Magnet Lady.
I did have a lot of friends there, and the board did vote in my favor, which I was grateful. But that enabled me to get here instead of waiting for the site to sell or having to pay for a place I couldn't live. So very grateful. So it got me here.
That's
so
great.
Here I am. Yeah.
And when you got back to Vegas, you reconnected with the Vegas Bears. They are so involved with outdoors events, kayaking, hiking. You and I went on a moonlight hike, and so what's that been like? And what sort of events do they like to get involved with?
Well, this year they're doing a lot more. In the past, when I lived here before, we just had several different houses where houses with pools and private backyards, and pool volleyball was the big draw. And we would just, hang out, do grill out some food, eat, socialize, play volleyball. And so now the Bears this year, they're trying to mix it up a little more. So they're doing like a pool party every month, a moonlight hike every month, kayaking once a month, and then they're also going to be traveling to other resorts. They've always traveled like more on holiday weekends, but now they're looking at doing more traveling to other landed nudist resorts.
They just went to the World Naked Bike Ride.
Yep. Last weekend, a lot of the Bears went to the Portland Nude Bike Ride and did that. Yep, so that was a trip. I stayed here because we kicked off our new events that we did. So
so while they were at the World Naked Bike Ride, you and I put on our first nude weekend here in Las Vegas. Of course, I work with Larry from the Clothing Optional Home Network, and he and I put together this thing called Vegas Naturally. You were there representing the Vegas Bears, and together we had a Q&A with the nudists, followed by a Clothing Optional potluck, and then we had a nude mandatory dance from 9 until late into the night, and it was a blast. It was a good, it wasn't great, but it was pretty damn good considering that, we're building a following here.
Yeah, and kind of my bad. I didn't realize that when we had our venue dates already, because you had acquired the venue dates before I even met you, didn't know that's the weekend the Bears were going to the Portland Bike Ride, but we still did pretty good. We had, I feel, for first event of its kind, and with only less than 2 weeks of planning,
sure.
I think we had a good turnout.
And it was eclectic. It was unique. There were some first timers. There was it was really a blast. And then because we're in Vegas, we had a few swinger types, which not every nudist is a swinger, not every swinger is a nudist, but it is Vegas, so as long as they're not participating at our event, I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We keep our events nude events, but hey, if people want to go do their own thing off-site, that's fine. So,
and I know a big coup is always trying to get more women to be involved, and that's an issue with the Vegas Bears. What is there anything that people are doing to try to bring more couples, more women involved?
Well, me personally, just hopefully being female and talking to people, being open. I don't feel I need to hide that I'm a nudist, so I'm pretty open about it. Me being a female, getting over that societal pressure of what your body is supposed to quote unquote look like, because even over time that has changed.
Sure.
And right now, unfortunately, with the modeling industry, it's like you need to be this skinny, thin, no meat on your bones. The models are starving themselves, and it's really too bad because what if there's no right body? What if it's just being comfortable with your body and having ease with your body? So, but society really is putting pressure right now that in the modeling industry that's what you need to look like. And that's what I loved about being a nudist for me, because the very first time I dropped my suit and got nude, to me it was like all that pressure of what my body should look like landed on the ground with my clothes, and it was more like, hey, this is me. So I actually felt more comfortable being nude than I did for many, many years, having to put on a suit to go to a public pool or hot tub when I was traveling at the time. Way more comfortable being naked. Way more comfortable. And so that's what and usually by the time people hear that, they're willing to give it a try.
Well, you're preaching to the choir with me. Obviously, it's it's more honest, more open, more real. It's really silly that we try to pretend that we're something we're not. I always say, you don't look at a horse or a cat and say, oh, look, a naked horse. Oh, look, a naked cat.
And we come into the world that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, anyway, to me, it's very natural. It's very freeing and liberating. And for me, I'm all about comfort, and it's comfortable. I've always just, I like even your panties, women, you call them creepers because they creep up on you. I hate that, and I've always hated wearing a bra. And anyway, it's just,
Sure.
Like my sundresses are the next best thing to wearing nothing because they're not restrictive and they're very comfortable.
You wear your son's dresses?
Sundresses, like
know.
S-U-N. Yeah, anyway. I just like the freedom of movement, non-restrictive movement. And anyway, and then the sun on my skin, just the feel of the sun, that warmth on my skin, I like it. And no tan lines. Hey!
Yeah, and
that's a great plus.
You and I both hate wet swimsuits clinging to us.
Oh yeah, I always hated sitting around in a wetsuit after you get in the water. It's like, anyway.
So stupid. Have you been to Canada?
Yes, I have many times.
Any chance you've been to the Bear Oaks Family Nudist Resort?
I haven't been there. No, I haven't. Let's see, what have I done nude out of the country? So I guess my only nude experience out of the country was in Costa Rica. There's a resort, I go there. In fact, that's the same resort where I get renew a lot of the certifications that I have for the different healing and consciousness facilitation I do. So there's a class called the 7-day event, which is 7 days, and during these events we buy out the whole resort. So, and it's at Manoa in Costa Rica, and it's kind of like you can see the volcano from the resort, and one of the pools is a natural hot spring pool. They empty it, clean it, fill it with the hot springs, no chemicals ever. So every few days they empty it, clean it, fill it with the hot springs. And so when I go to that resort during a 7-day event, I get nude and get my nude fix. And I actually got a group of probably about 6 or 7 attendees of the class to do the nude thing with me for their first time. So that was cool.
What a hoot. Well, you are an eclectic lady, Julie Mayo. This is a blast. Now, how can people... Wait, I have one question before we wrap it up. Do you have a book? Do you have a book about all this stuff?
I know there's a story in here somewhere. I just haven't...
think?
Yes. I know there's a story in here somewhere. So many different things to touch on, so I don't know what that looks like yet, but I know I will be writing a book. I haven't actually started one, although in a sense, the 3 different websites I've created over the years, that's a lot of content for a book.
Okay.
But I know
blogs, you mean?
Yeah, I have a blog.
Okay.
I have a blog and a website.
Well, you should absolutely, you're talking to a guy who runs a publishing house. I put out books. That's what I do. So you should absolutely do it. And people would love to hear your story.
Yeah,
so.
It's definitely on my list of things to do.
So how can people reach out to you?
So the business started as Natural Magnetism. It's now called Access Possibilities. So Access, ACCESS Possibilities.com is the website. You can find the blog there too. The magnetic jewelry I started making in 2007, and everything I've used for my spiritual journey, for my health, to get my health in check, everything I've incorporated in the business. So you can find it all there and contact me that way too. So
great. Well, that's great. And then as far as nude events here in Las Vegas, where should they, I don't know what you're going to be associated with. Well,
the Las Vegas Bears, they have a website too, lasvegasbears.com. So you can, look up their website, get in touch that way. And, I'm working with them at the moment, trying to get the group a little stronger. I think they've lacked a little bit of leadership, and would just, again, like to get some more females involved, more couples involved, grow the group. There's a non-landed group in California, the Southern California Naturist Association, and they have the membership numbers. So they buy out bowling alleys and do nude bowling. They buy out an archery range, do nude archery. They do nude museum tours. So, Tim and I, we've been talking, like, we'd like to get some of that stuff going here. And the first thing you need is interested people. So if people are interested, reach out.
I interviewed Rolf for the podcast, actually. So just a couple of episodes ago.
Oh, you did? Very cool.
The guy who runs
yeah. So Rolf, I met when I attended several of the nude bowling events, was invited by a friend and club member, Brian, and met Rolf and a lot of the gang. So
Brian's great. We interviewed the cast and crew of that play, which I don't know if you saw my post. So it's an immersive nudist play as part of the Hollywood Fringe. It was just nominated for Best Immersive Show
and that's so cool. And even before Brian started doing that, he asked me to be a participating female, and just unfortunately with the miles between us, it just, in my busy schedule, it just never happened. But I was so awesome that he has pursued that.
Well, it was a pleasure, and what a hoot, and thank you so much for coming on this podcast and being with us.
Cool. Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Well, that's all for this episode of the Naturist Living Show. Thank you, as always, for listening. My name is Stéphane Deschênes, and I'm your host for this podcast. And of course, today we had Tim Chizmar interviewing Julie. I do this podcast with a lot of help from Samantha Graham, who is our show producer, but she also does all the editing, and she's making it possible to have more shows more frequently and more regularly. You can find links to all the items I mentioned in the show notes on the website at naturistlivingshow.com. Please keep sending your comments and suggestions. I really appreciate getting them. I read them all. I don't always have a chance to reply to everyone because we get a lot of comments, but I do appreciate reading them. The show's email address is contact@naturistlivingshow.com. I hope you enjoyed this show and that you'll join us again for the next episode of the Naturist Living Show.
This episode of the Naturist Living Show was brought to you by Bare Oaks Family Naturist Park. Traditional naturist values in a modern setting. Traditional values means that naturism is more than just taking your clothes off. It is a life philosophy with physical, psychological, environmental, social, and moral benefits. Bare Oaks Family Naturist Park strives to promote those naturist values in a modern setting that provides the amenities and services that our members and visitors expect. Free your body, free your mind. Learn more at www.bareoaks.ca.
Oh, this stuff is fun.
Okay.
All right.
So this
But
is,
we'll-
and put your headphones on for a second.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a really good show, wasn't it?
That was a great show. We did a great job.
Thank you. What's this one?
Oh, we're funny.
Yes. The other day I went to the market.
Was there any toilet paper?
Yes. Welcome to the show! It's so great to have you here.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, how's life been for you, Samantha?
Life's been great. I've been playing with sound equipment all day.
So yes, that's how you can do a live
That's-
taping.
That's so freaking cool.
The ultimate toy.
It is the ultimate toy.
The Rodecaster Pro.
I kind of thought when I seen the colorful buttons, I was like, those are probably fun sound buttons.
Exactly. All right. Shall we
Okay.
put things away?
Yes, let's
Okay.
put things away.